Good morning, my lovely sunshiners. I just want to come on today and talk to you a little bit about uncovering the truth and challenging negative core beliefs. I found with doing CBT therapy with people that negative core beliefs can be so deep rooted, to pull them out, you have to get a bulldozer and clamp onto it and drag them out. And some people are really scared and don't want to let go and don't want to. They will hold on to them and they'll keep, they say, yeah, I want to get rid of my negative beliefs and try and ditch them and sort of stuff. But when you start trying to uncovering them, they'll hold on to them. And, they'll be like, no, I need to hold on to these because these have kept me safe for years. Or, you know, I, I can't, I can't think of anything else that can put in place of the negative belief, because obviously if you take one out, you've got to put something back in. Positive ones, certainly not another negative one. And I've found people have said, well, this is just who I am and I can't change who I am. And that's not true. We can change, and we can work through things and change stuff. So I just wanted to go through this and share some things with you. And, if negative beliefs is something that is really holding you back, especially the deep core ones, then I want you to know that there is a way that you can get through that and you can weed them out, chuck them in bin, let the bin truck take them away, and fill them with some nice, new, positive, beautiful, flowering ones. So in the realm of cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the cornerstones of effective treatment is challenging negative core beliefs. These deeply ingrained, often subconscious beliefs about ourselves, others, and the world around us can significantly impact our thoughts, emotions, and behaviours. By identifying and challenging these negative core beliefs, individuals can experience profound changes in their mental health and well-being. Clients will often come and they'll say, well, I've had these beliefs for that long that I don't know how to get rid of them and they're never going to go. And yet, 6 weeks down the line, after they've had 6 weeks of CBT therapy, they're skipping and jumping and they've changed everything completely. And they've also got a toolbox that they can go away with for when negative thoughts do come back up. They've got some tools that they can use to sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? To stop them in the tracks. So the negative ones, a bit like the little Pac-Man chomping up all your negative thoughts, and then the ghost one comes with another big negative thought that he wants to do, and you've got to chomp that and get rid of it. So, we can get rid of them. We don't have to live with them. They're not part of our identity. They're not part of who we are. So what I want to do is delve into the concept of negative core beliefs and explore how they manifest and discuss strategies for challenging and transforming them. So we'll start with understanding negative core beliefs. And, these are deeply held beliefs about ourselves and about other people and about the world. And they shape how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive our experiences. Now, these beliefs are often formed in childhood and can become so ingrained that we accept them as unquestionable truths. Like things like money is the root of all evil. That's a classic one that you're told when you're a child, and it's deeply rooted inside of you. If you've been when you're a child, if you've been your mum and dad are in a relationship that's quite toxic, you can then get this belief that all marriages are just shit and nobody should get married. What's the point, because it always ends in divorce. These sort of beliefs, that things like, what was one I had the other week? A lady had been told from a very young age, because she was quite a stocky lady, and she'd been told from a very young age that she had a fat gene and that's how she was going to be. And I was like, no, that's just not, that's not the case. You know, you don't have a fat gene, and it's not, that's not who you are, and it's not part of your identity. But, and it took quite a bit to shift that from her, because she'd always been told all her life that, you know, she had to eat up, she had to finish the food that was on her plate, because if she didn't, you know, the starving kids in Africa, and you won't be able to have pudding, or you can't go out and play, and all that kind of stuff. And it had all been sort of ingrained into her. So, you know, like I said, these beliefs come, and they're formed in our childhood. And these are some of the common ones that I want to share with you that people have said to me when they've come for therapy. I'm unlovable. Now, that one to me is just, how can you be unlovable? There's always somebody for somebody, you know, and that, a lot of that comes from the fact that you find it difficult to love yourself. Another one that people say quite often is, I'm worthless. You're never worthless. You know, you've got so much inside you that you can give to people and to give to yourself. It's just that you've lost your sense of yourself, that you feel that you're worthless to everybody else. Another one a lot of people say is, I'm a failure. And when I start to question why they think they're a failure, it all boils down to the fact that they feel that because they've not achieved a certain thing at a certain time, or, you know, they've not got this career that they wanted, and although they've got a career, they've not got the career that they thought they should have had. Um, you know, little things like that, that they feel that they're just not good enough, and because they've not reached a certain point, that they've failed. Others are always judging me. That's another one that people say a lot of. You know, they'll come to me and they'll say, I'm always judged by my husband, my wife, my family members, my mum, my dad, me, whoever. And a lot of that judgment just comes from your own judgment of yourself. You know, and when we start breaking things down and doing some of the CBT techniques that we have in our toolbox, you find that nobody's judging you at all. It's the judgments that you're putting on yourself that's making you feel like everybody else is judging you. You know, so, you know, do any of them sort of resonate with you? Is there any of those that you say to yourself regularly? I used to quite often say to myself, you know, you're just not clever enough to do that. You're just too fat. You know, things like that. And then you think, you know, why am I torturing myself like that? Why am I saying these things to myself? So I've done so much of the inner work to build my confidence, my self-esteem, my self-worth, all that kind of thing, you know, and this is what I try and instill into my clients when they come to me and they've got self-esteem issues and such like. So negative core beliefs can manifest in various ways. And they can influence our thoughts, they can mess with our emotions, and they can certainly mess with our behaviours. So with thoughts, negative core beliefs often lead to distorted thinking patterns, such as making things like mountains out of molehills. We overgeneralize stuff. We have black and white thinking, you know, so it's either this way or this way. There's no grey area in between. We make a massive mountain out of a molehill over something really tiny that we didn't need to think, or we overgeneralize. So we think, you know, all famous footballers are cheats, that sort of stuff. It's a an overgeneralization of a statement that people, you know, quite often say. Or, you know, it could be something like, all marriages end in divorce, you know, that kind of generalization. Now, with emotions, the negative core beliefs can contribute to a feeling of anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, shame, or guilt. These are some of the emotions that we feel when our negative beliefs are the ones that are in control at that time. And, you know, we can feel angry and sad, worthless, all these kinds of different emotions that go on when our negative core beliefs are really in play and not giving you a break. And some of the behaviours that we can show, so negative core beliefs may lead to avoidance of certain situations, perfectionism, people pleasing, or self-sabotage. Now, I've done all of these in my time, because I thought I wasn't good enough at sales is one of the things that I always put myself down for, so that stops me from trying to sell my products and my services to people, because I always feel like, oh, you're no good at it and you shouldn't do it. Perfectionism, I tend to do something like I was making a course and I kept starting again and starting again and starting again because I wanted it all to be perfect. And then I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to put it out there. Like with my videos and stuff, my videos might not be perfect, but I'm putting stuff out there that's trying to help people. And, at one point I was terrified of actually doing that. So I would stop myself from doing it. But now I just do it. And if people don't like it, they don't like it. If they do, then that's brilliant. If they don't, then they don't have to listen. So, people pleasing. I was a massive people pleaser, still am to a certain degree, and I would do things for everybody else, even if I really didn't want to do it. So, but that can have such a lot of negative attachments to it when you're doing that constantly over and over again. And then self-sabotage, I will sabotage myself. I don't do it as much anymore because, like I said before, I've worked quite a lot on my mindset, my inner work, my core values, all that kind of thing. But I still do sabotage myself sometimes where, my mind will say to me, oh, what are you doing that for? No one will want that. No one will want to listen to you. So I still have my mind monkeys, but I've learned to be able to say, bugger off, and you're not serving a purpose. I've heard what you're saying, but you're not serving a purpose. So leave me alone and let me get on with it. So what I want you to do is challenge these negative core beliefs. And challenging them can be difficult because it can trigger you and it can set off emotions that you might not really want to be thinking about. But challenging your negative core beliefs is a key component of CBT. So we question the validity of these beliefs and provide evidence to the contrary. Individuals can begin to develop more balanced and realistic perspectives. And here are some of the strategies to challenge negative core beliefs, because you can challenge them and you can see, is that belief really true? Like when you say to yourself that I'm not good enough or I'm not clever enough, is that really true? Because I say this to myself quite a lot. I mean, I've got a psychology degree, so I can't be that numb. Do you know what I mean? I've passed various certificates in different things, life coaching, counseling, meditations, the CBT therapy one, the NLP one, I've done all these different things. So, is it really true that I can say, well, you're just not clever enough to do something when I've done all these things to prove that wrong? So one of the strategies is identify the belief. Start by identifying the negative core belief that underlies your thoughts and emotions, and pay attention to the recurring themes or patterns in your thinking. So is it a belief that comes up all the time? Is it something that is like on a loop? Is it reoccurring? Is there a pattern to it? What I tell my clients to do is write down the negative beliefs that they've got, and think about them, and we write them down, and then we can actually go through them in the session to start questioning whether they're true or not, and finding evidence which is better to counteract them and to say, well, that's not true because we've got evidence with blah, blah, blah. And this really follows on. So examine the evidence. Ask yourself what evidence supports the belief and what evidence contradicts it. Are there instances in your life that disapprove this belief? Because you'll find that 9 times out of 10, you've got something that will say, that's not true. There'll be something when we start digging and uncovering stuff, there'll be something in there that says that that's not true. So consider alternative explanations. So challenge yourself to consider alternative explanations for your experiences. Is there another way to interpret the situation? So think about it in a way of, is it really like that? Or am I just making that into that scenario? Like, I'm trying to think of an example. I went to, I did a certification course, which cost me quite a lot of money. It cost me £3,000. And at the end of it, we was having an in-person day. And I kept saying to myself, I'm not going. I don't want to go to this in-person day, because although I knew these people and I'd spoke to them on Zoom and all that kind of stuff, I just didn't feel that I was frightened, basically. And I'd made the situation into being, you're going to get there and it's going to be, you stand up and you have to say what it is that you do and, where you want your dreams to go and all that kind of stuff. And I was just making it into something like, oh, you're going to make a fool of yourself and nobody's going to be interested in what you've got to say. So I tried to, and I said this to my husband, and my husband went, no, you go in, you're going to really enjoy it and you're going to go. So he dropped me off at this hotel where we was having it. And I walked in, I was so nervous and my hands were all sweaty, but it was nothing like I imagined it being. And people did want to listen to you and people did give you that encouragement, and I just interpreted it a different way, as to being, well, you're just boring, so no one's going to want to listen to you anyway. So, think about, is there another way that you could think about it? And the other thing as well is to test the belief. So conducting an experiment or a behavioural test to challenge the validity of the belief. Actively seek out situations that contradict the belief and observe what happens. So you could try and push yourself into doing something that that's one of your core beliefs. And try and find some sort of way of testing whether that belief that you hold is actually true or not. Another thing you can do is challenge distorted thinking. So using cognitive restructuring techniques to challenge distorted thinking patterns associated with negative core beliefs and replace irrational thoughts with more balanced and realistic ones. We get some of our beliefs obviously from our parents and grandparents and stuff like that. And one of the ones when I was growing up was, money doesn't grow on trees. And all right, you can't really challenge that because money doesn't grow on trees, although technically if it's made out of paper, I suppose it does. But, it was things like money's really hard to come by and you have to work hard to earn this sort of money and go out and get a proper job. And, because when I was little, I wanted to be a professional dancer. And I was always told that it's not a proper job. You need to go out and get a proper job. Dancing will only last for so long and all this kind of stuff. So, that sort of squashed to that, but you can challenge the way that you think about stuff. Another thing you can do is practice self-compassion. So be kind to yourself as you challenge negative core beliefs. Recognize that these beliefs were likely formed in a response to past experiences and are not accurate. They're not an accurate reflection of your worthiness or your abilities. I think one of mine was, I used to work for an engineering company and I was told that part of my role I'd been there quite a few years, about 15 years, and they said one of your roles is you're going to have to start ringing customers up and seeing if they want any bakery equipment. Well, this filled me with dread, absolutely filled me with dread, because I was told they had to ring customers, and like I said, I hate cold calling because I don't like it being done to me. I think it's pushy. I think it's icky. I think anyway. So I did it, and a couple of times that I'd rang people up on this particular day, I got people who were really nasty with me, and so I associated that all the time with the core belief of all people that you speak to on a sales call are going to be nasty with you. And I realized that I was thinking, well, maybe it's you. Maybe you just come across wrong, or, you're just not capable or worthy of doing that kind of a job. Because my brother was really good. He could sell sand to anybody, sand to Arabs, if you like. He was really good at sales, but I felt like I wasn't that capable of it, so I would punish myself and I would put myself down for it. And then I realized that it wasn't really me. It was just maybe the way I was approaching it. Maybe it was just that people didn't want anything that day. And maybe some people are just bloody grumpy. And when you ring them up, they're quite nasty with you anyway. So, but, don't be punishing yourself for things. Be a bit more kind to yourself. And when your core beliefs come up and you're thinking, I'm fat, I'm lazy, I'm too old, that kind of thing, I want you to be a bit more kind to yourself. So as I've said to you before, I am a CBT therapist and an NLP practitioner, and you can give me a call or drop me an email if you are finding that your negative beliefs are holding you back and making you feel worthless and, making you feel a bit depressed and down. So you can always do that. I'll leave a link somewhere in this video. And then we can transform our negative core beliefs. And the last thing I want to share with you is that we can transform our negative core beliefs. Like I said, they don't have to become part of our identity. They don't have to become part of who we are. So transforming negative core beliefs takes time and effort, but it's possible with persistence and dedication. By challenging these deeply ingrained beliefs and replacing them with more adaptive and empowering ones, individuals can experience profound changes in their self-perception and overall well-being. And remember, you have the power to rewrite the script of your inner narrative and create a more positive and fulfilling life. You don't have to listen to those mind monkeys. You don't have to listen to that negative voice, whoever that negative voice might be. My negative voice ends up, it's usually my mum. It's my mum's voice I can hear. So I just want you to know that we can change them. If I can change mine, that were deeply ingrained in me, then I know that you can change yours. It just takes that bit of inner work and the first decision of saying, yes, I want to change them and I don't want them to control me anymore. So I will leave you with that thought, and I shall speak to you all again soon. Love you all. Take care. Bye for now.